Hey, everybody, welcome back to Author Eke. Today I have Alejandra. And she is an author who's got a pretty interesting book out there that we're going to talk about. And as you know, whatever comes into our fancy, we'll discuss. So, Alejandra, please introduce yourself to the Author Eke crowd.
Well, hi. First of all, thank you for having me, Travis. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm Alejandra Brady, and I live in Tampa. And as we were just talking off camera, I was sort of compelled to write this book too. I actually had
Excellent.
here she is. I had to write her. God, no. I'm sorry. I don't find that to be true. It was a lot of work.
I used to work in Tampa.
Did you?
Yeah, where the mall is, a big mall off of Veterans.
Okay. Yeah.
And the office building
International.
right there by the airport. I used to work there. I would go there every week for work. So yeah,
I
I didn't want
love
to.
it. We love
Yeah.
Tampa.
Oh, I know. I did. Love it. Love it. So I didn't want to just go ahead.
Oh, go right ahead.
So tell us about your book, your journey, and what the compelling mechanism for you to write it, because it's not. People say, "Oh, just sit down and write." There's a lot to it that people that haven't written one or people that want to write one. It's an endeavor,
It is.
to say the least.
It really is. It's a labor of love. And I feel
Yes.
that you really have to do it for the right reason in order for it to truly come out authentically from you. So mine honestly started by me saying no. I am a feng shui practitioner. I do consultations all over the world. And as I was becoming certified in feng shui, I knew that a lot of my clients were going to be much more into spiritual modalities than I was familiar with. So
Hmm.
the first one that I kind of dived into was meditation and trying to learn from an accredited program, how to meditate correctly, not just start willy-nilly.
Hmm.
And as I was learning this and becoming and starting my meditation practice, I asked very sincerely one day during meditation what my purpose in life moving forward was. I was 50 at the time. Our son had graduated from college. I was recovering from a very unforeseen cervical fusion. It's interesting, it's my throat chakra, right where we speak. I have
Huh?
a plate with 6 screws in my neck. And I was recovering from all of this. And when I
Hmm.
asked this question and I got given an answer, I literally heard a voice that said, "You're going to write a book." And my response was, "No, thank you. What else you got for me? I have absolutely no interest in doing this."
I don't want to write one.
Yeah, exactly. So, part of a daily meditation practice is doing it daily. So I sat back down the next day and the next day. And for the following 5 days, I would ask the same question, hoping I'd get a different answer. And the answer was always the same: "You're going to write a book."
Hmm.
And finally, after the 5th day and a lot of frustration, I'm like, okay, what the hell am I writing a book about? Like, who cares what a middle-aged, privileged white woman has to say? I have a good life.
Right. Right.
And again, I heard the voice and it just said, "Just write what's happening to you." And I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll start doing this.
Hmm.
Funny enough, one of my majors in college is journalism, but I'd never used it. So here I am, 35 years after graduating from college, using my journalism major. So I start writing. And the more I start writing, the crazier stuff starts happening to me. And it's
Hmm.
the beginning of my spiritual journey that started at 50. And I just kept listening and writing it down. And every time another synchronicity happened, I just kept going. And by the time it all got down on paper, it's 93,000 words,
Wow.
takes place over 3 years, including a time in Sedona. I literally got told, again, a voice in my head told me to, I'm very clairaudient. So I got told to go to Sedona. And I had no idea
Oh,
what Sedona was at that point in time. But 10
okay.
days later, we owned a second home there. That's how things were
Nice. That's
manifesting
not
for me.
bad.
No, and that's where the book was mainly written. I think I had to be taken out of my comfort zone in Tampa with friends and clients and all of that and be put in a more isolated place
Yep.
where I was given the time and the freedom and the pandemic to write the book in,
Oh, excellent. So
So,
what's
yes,
the name of it?
I just can't make this shit up.
Oh,
That is the title. And it had to be the title, because
yeah.
I can't.
You
And I was
couldn't.
trying to come up with all these really beautiful, how I healed, my spiritual journey, just all these really beautiful titles. And I was at a retreat in the desert and I walked in to have a session with a woman who I'd never met and who had no idea who I was. And I was in the middle of writing. So it's not like it came out. Nobody knew me at all.
Right.
I walked in and she looks at me in her very heavy French accent and she goes, "What is the title of your book?" And I'm sure I'm butchering the accent, but and I said, "My book?" She goes, "Yes, you're writing a book. What's the title?" And
Uh-huh.
so I came up with some and then finally go, "I don't know. I just can't make this shit up." She goes, "That's the title." And so that's the title. It's caused
Sometimes the hardest things are easy.
Yep. And it's caused a few bumps along the road because Amazon doesn't like it for promoting it because of that word. But I don't care. I feel very passionately about it. And I feel that it's going to get to the people that are meant to read it,
Right.
and I'm not worried about the rest.
Yeah. I mean, I've written 3 books and nobody knows me. So,
I'm known much more for my feng shui
or
because I
people that do
am,
know me
yeah.
don't want to know me. So that's a blessing in disguise.
I'm known much more for my feng shui because I have clients, all over the world. So that is where. But my book is my baby, my other baby. We have
Right.
a grown child who's almost 30, but this is my baby, and she's here to help people. So that's why she's
And
out in
did
the
you
world.
self-publish or did you go through a publisher?
I
Or
did. I had a publishing team that worked with me, but we were advised for legal reasons and all of that kind of stuff that if we could self-publish, it was best to do that.
Mhm.
So that is what we did for the time being. And then where it goes from here, we'll see. It's done really well so far. It is a bestseller and it's won 3 awards, I think, up to now.
Excellent.
So yeah, and she's getting to the right people. That's all I care about.
That's the key. I went through kind of a publisher the first 2 and decided to write the third on my own and self-published. And of course, you have an editor and
You're
the
right.
design formatted the book using
Hmm.
software. It was, I'm pretty technically savvy. So and I feel I've gotten more out of it
Right? There's something
personally.
about doing that work yourself too. And it really put me out of my comfort zone. A, I wanted
Yeah.
to write, so I wasn't looking to dive into this world. And then B, having to navigate it. And yes, with a whole team. I had
Hmm.
a woman who helps you self-publish, and she brought in a team. And my book cover actually won an award for like the winner, not just a finalist for
Excellent.
the
Let's
award
see it.
cover. Sure. There she is.
Awesome. And that was the title, folks. She wasn't just making.
No, no, no. That's the title. And you know what I love about this is I'm laughing. I was in the middle of a photo shoot and,
Yeah.
again, trying to be all zen and serene.
Yeah.
And my husband said something that just made me crack up. And that's the photo. So it's those
Yeah.
little, it just relates back to everything, right? It's the little moments in between the moments that are the real moments.
Exactly. It's the blink of the
So
eye.
it is. It really is. So yes. So that's a little bit about how she came to be.
Excellent. So, what what do you want people to get out of your book? Is it a realization of they can do what they want to do when you put your mind to it, or there's or obstacles get in your way, way to overcome things, a way to become more in tune with yourself to be able to allow you to do things you want to do?
I want people to know because I do feel very strongly that there's a lot of people, waking up right now and
Hmm.
becoming more aware of different realms in the world,
Yep.
not just the material and the physical, the financial. I want those people to understand that they're not alone. My journey was tough. And people in my life, I've been married to my husband. We just had our 34th wedding anniversary on Saturday.
I got
So
38 coming up.
good for you. We're right there. Tells our
Yeah.
age, but that's okay.
55 on Monday, so and I don't care.
You look
Yeah.
fabulous. I'll be
Thank you.
50. So, my husband and I have been together since we were in college. So, he had this one person he knew from the age of 18. And suddenly all these changes are happening to me pretty drastically and dramatically and very quickly as my spiritual journey started when I turned 50. And even though he's been an awesome support and our son and my daughter-in-law have been wonderful supports, a lot of the journey took place by myself because they didn't understand, you know, well-meaning too. I went and did
Yeah.
like my very first, again, trying all the different modalities. I went and did past life regression. And the main thing, to not get into the whole thing because it took hours, but the main thing was for me to come out and use my voice. Again, use my voice, use my voice, use my voice. And I got home and I told my husband, and it was a pretty intense experience. And it was physical. Like she literally put a rope around me and I had to pull the rope off of me to free my voice and to free my throat chakra. So I come home, I have a glass of champagne. He's having a beer. I'm telling him the story. And the first thing he says to me is like, "You're not going to tell anybody this, right? Because they're going to think you're crazy." I'm like,
No, no,
oh,
nobody.
but that just goes to tell you when you're going through a journey, even the
Mm,
most well-meaning people who are in your corner and love you don't get it. They
yeah,
can't because it's what's happening to you. And I'm telling him, I have to use my voice. I have to speak out. And he's like, I don't want people to think you're crazy, So it's letting other people know. And I have gotten feedback from all over the world. It's
mm,
about letting people know that they're not alone, that these coincidences, synchronicities, things that are happening are all in their highest and greatest good. And also that it's not going to be an easy journey and you are going to lose friends.
yep,
You are going to lose some family members.
yep.
Sometimes you may, I did, but in the end, it gives you purpose. And then you are able to do what you're truly here to do on this planet at this time. And that's how I feel. I feel very passionate about what I do now.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a story I've never told on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Oh, see, I love that.
I don't know how many. She
Oh, tell.
7 years ago, my granddaughter was 2 years old and diagnosed with leukemia.
Mm.
2 years old. I was working for a company, and then I decided to start my own right before that. And for 2 years, I could go up any. They live in Arkansas. My daughter say Willow's in the hospital. I'd go up there, sometimes twice a week. Now, at the same time, I would drive to Arkansas to go see my granddaughter, and my mom was going in a senior citizen for dementia. Drive by myself, 5.5 hours. Stop by and see my mom. Then go to Children's Hospital Little Rock, which is a great hospital. Then stay the night. Then go see my granddaughter. Then go see my mom and drive home by myself for 5.5 hours. And I don't remember a lot of those drives because I was just praying and
Right.
everything.
Right.
So, and then we were getting desperate for cash. I wasn't working really. I wasn't making money, and my wife was working. Thank God. But we got to the point where I had to look for a job. We had like $2 left in our bank account.
Mm.
And at 2 years, then my granddaughter rung the bell for ending her therapy. I wrote a poem. I've never written a poem in my life. I wrote it in 5 minutes, and I said it to her when she rang the bell. And that day, I was driving back, and I got a call from a company that said, "Hey, Travis, we want to interview you tomorrow." So I got on my interview, and I got the job. I don't remember sending in an application to them. The strange thing is when I started working for them, they create all these your count on a demo environment, so you can do a new technical work.
Okay.
And they said, "Travis, your name is already in here." Travis Davis was already in that system, and they had to create another one for me. I don't even remember. It's crazy. There's a saying for that God puts you. There's a time frame,
Mhm.
and then when that was done, boom,
The
crazy.
opportunity for you because you did what you felt and you put your priority
My God, yeah, my
in the right
granddaughter,
space, right? Yeah.
anything. My
Yeah,
daughter,
absolutely.
granddaughter, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with me. That's a beautiful story. And I'm so
Yeah.
happy to hear she's okay.
Yeah, no
That's-
fear.
That's
She had no fear.
that's
So
okay.
So I was thinking about writing a book. At the same time, my son went into the Army.
Gosh,
So I thought
you
about
were
writing a
getting
book. It's called Son, Father, Grandfather. And it's 2 years of my life that were just tough. I know. But I don't want not to get my daughter rehashing things. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that because I think the perfect opportunity. But yeah, I think you can look. You are stronger than you think. Right? When
Oh,
people are
100%.
stronger physically and mentally.
Yep.
Look at these Medal of Honor winners and all these things. I mean, there's just just crazy things that you can propel yourself if put in that situation.
I
So it's
also
amazing.
feel that when we're ready, the teachers show up for us, right? I mean, you were
Yeah.
ready. I was ready.
Yep.
We're ready for a change. We're ready to do what was needed from us next.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, those guides, those people that are all around us,
Yep.
help us get there.
Right.
I strongly believe in that. Both my parents have passed.
Mhm.
And some people ask me, it's like, do you miss them? It's been 18 years because they died 6 months apart. And I'm like, I actually don't really, because I feel their presence around me so, so much. As I was writing the book, I just started doing what I was told to do. Um, these songs would pop up in between when I was writing like different chapters that would make
Right.
perfect sense for the chapter. And I'm like, or a lyric or something would pop up. And after working with other healers and doing different sessions, again, one of them told me that my mom was the one sending me all the song titles. And I'm like, well, because some of the words I didn't even know. I had to go
Right.
look it up. And then once
Yeah.
I looked it up, it made perfect sense for what I was writing about, but I didn't necessarily know everything in the book. So I love to feel that there's guides around us all the time
Yeah.
helping us, and putting things in front of us that we need to look at, and also protecting us from things that we don't need to be around,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. So that leads me to my question: do you like to
Yeah.
write with music, or do you like to
Uh,
write in a stereo?
I used to write looking at, we lived on a path, like an animal path.
Mm-hmm.
I used to write without noise, mainly without noise when I'm really trying to concentrate and just watching the animals. We always had animals in our backyard. Our background was Thunder Mountain, and in front of that we had mule deer, we had quail, we had javelinas almost every day, and birds, crazy birds. So I would open the windows and listen to the birds and just
Oh,
kind of try and write when it was quieter. And we have 4 rescue dogs now, so it's not quiet very often.
I got a
So
7-month-old lab mix who I think she gets rabid sometimes. I mean, she has this energy just kicks in, but
we we
she's
have
a good girl.
we have, if one isn't going, the other one
Yeah.
starts them, so then they all get going and then it's just utter madness. But I prefer a quieter environment when I write. I do
Yeah.
need that, yes.
So so when you wrote the book, did you know or even have an inkling for how much marketing it's going to take of your, to get out I mean, you got to brand yourself. You
I
got to,
know, it's a
it's
lot.
a process, especially if you don't, even people with business backgrounds. When I look at a book, each book is a business.
Right.
And for that business, I have to write a business plan and I have to execute that business plan. Whether it's, I have a finite amount of money, right?
Everybody
Um,
does.
Everybody, yeah. So I have, I just can't lavishly spend on stuff. But so how do you market? What is your,
So
what's your
in
go-to?
in all honesty, I am just starting to do that. I call her she. She was born in April 2 years ago. In 2022 is when she came out live on Amazon. But the next day, our son got engaged. So week,
Yeah.
my publisher said, "Do you want to start putting stuff on Instagram?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to do anything.
Hmm.
This week is all about an incubator for my son and his fiance." And then we moved into a house. We were in the middle of moving back from Sedona, buying a house that was being built, moving in. Then it was our son's wedding. And finally, I'm like, you know what? I've kind of put her to the side. And yes, she's on Amazon. Yes, she's on my website. And, I do get asked to do a lot of feng shui interviews. So when
Hmm.
I do them, I talk about the book too.
Right.
But I'm just starting to really focus on her and see
Okay.
where we're going to go. So I am open to any and all ideas because this is hard.
It is tough.
This
It
is
is tough. I mean,
hard.
the
Yes.
realization you write a book and everybody's going to love it, but hey, nobody knows it about it.
How do you, yeah, unless you're already somebody famous, Michelle
Unless you
Obama,
got a
nobody
top
knows that you
five
wrote a
publisher or
book.
something.
Right.
Exactly. So I don't know. I look at a book like a pie. Cut it in three pieces. They're not totally equal. The first piece is just writing the book, right? Getting it out, getting it done. The next part is publishing it, whether you're self-published, whether you're going to go traditional, hybrid, mix, whatever. And the third piece and the bigger piece that takes longer to eat is the marketing aspect of
Mm-hmm.
it. And so how do you market yourself? Do you go Facebook ads? You go Twitter, you do Instagram, you do or not Facebook, TikTok. How do you do that? Um, and I think depends on the book that you have. The different, like Facebook, probably be fantastic for yours because
Yeah. I have a much bigger following on Instagram, so I tend to
yeah,
focus on
yeah,
Instagram.
Instagram and Facebook is the same.
They are, but I have different followings in
Yeah,
each one.
yeah,
And everything that I post on Instagram does go over to Facebook. but
Right.
I get much bigger response from Instagram. I don't know if it's just the demographic that follows
Hmm.
me, mainly for feng shui again,
Yep.
but I'm trying to shift that over to her and give her more airtime. So I'm just seeing what's happening. There's several local bookstores in Tampa that carry her. Miraval carries my card deck because I also created a feng shui card deck. So I know that there's places around the United States that carry
Yeah.
my card deck. So just
Book
trying to
signings.
navigate.
Book
Book signings,
signings.
I've done a couple of those. Workshops,
Yep.
when I've done workshops, I've brought the book as well.
Yep.
But it's definitely still in the baby stages as far as my putting time and effort into her. And that's just me being super honest about it.
Yeah.
I get,
I interviewed somebody. Up- I've been doing this for almost 2 years, and he gave me a great bit of advice that I still remember. Every day I spend an hour marketing, whether that's Twitter, and it's not always about the book. It's
Mhm.
about something like I like cooking, I like baking, right? And I like pizzas and stuff. So I'll put like Friday we'll do pizza night. I'll put a picture of the pizza out there, or I'll
Mhm.
make ice cream or whatever. So I try to mix it up. Where it's always not about the book, but what I do is I have product placement, and normally somewhere in that picture is
Book.
a book.
There she is. My chair just got in the way, but there she
Yeah,
is.
see, that's probably it's like Seinfeld, right? Everything's
Yes,
product placement.
you have to do it, and I agree with you. People don't want like feng shui every day. People love when I post about the dogs or what I'm cooking. I love to cook as well. I did, the craziest stuff. I did a salt burn for Lunar New Year and it got 90,000 views. And then I can spend an hour coming up with this really pretty reel about whatever and it'll get
Yeah,
6,000 views. I mean, so to me, there's still a little bit of there's no rhyme or reason to what the audience
exactly.
wants to take in that day.
Yeah,
So I just try and be myself and put myself out there. And, I just feel in these opportunities, the audience will grow and then hopefully that will grow and so forth and so on. And
it's a snowball effect.
it is. That's what we're
Unless
hoping
you're
for. I've done a couple.
established and everybody knows you. So it's
Right.
just getting the name out there, being persistent, having a good product, having somebody pick it up that
Hmm.
maybe some type of a influential or influencer or whatever to be able to promote that for you, whether that's maybe through book clubs or
That's a great
through
idea.
holistic medicine, or people that are into the Asian you know, culture of feng shui. How do you say
Feng
feng
shui.
shui? Feng
It's
shui.
FENG.
Feng
Feng
shui.
shui.
Yep. So in like that, where mine are, typically, it's interesting. So I do a lot of book signings, like in Kroger. It's crazy. I mean, you
But
get a
that's
lot of
great. I
people.
mean, volume.
80% of the people that buy my books are women.
Really. To
Yeah.
read themselves, to give to spouses,
I
or
would say
a little of
60%
both.
to read themselves.
Love that.
And I think 104 definitely, because it's not a war book. Right?
Hmm.
It's a book about war.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, so it's interesting. Keeps the demographics out there that you can see, you can notice, and you're right. The cover gets people right. You got to boom.
Hmm.
If it's a boring cover or something, they'll walk away. If it's a cover that grabs them, they'll at least want to talk about it. Then you got to have your 30-second elevator pitch ready
Right.
to be able to snag them to get that deeper conversation. Where when you're talking, other people will come there and listen to you at the same time, and then pick up the book.
That's very true.
So it's
That's very
all,
true.
and it's where you sometimes book signings. A lot of times sitting on people, you sit down there, they'll come to you to standing up. These human
Why are you
behaviors
here?
that you notice is just crazy.
Curious. I will
Yeah,
say one thing that I feel really strongly about too. I had a couple of people tell me that I shouldn't be on the cover because I'm not famous, yet. But you know what I'm saying? It's like and that you should not have for first time authors. I was told this for first time authors that you should not have your face on the cover. And whoever's listening, I just want to say, trust your gut. If you feel that
no,
that is an important part of your message, then I think go ahead and do it. And, I won. It won at one of the book. I think that's another really good deal.
no.
My book was just at the LA Times Book Festival too.
Nice.
So, and it was a finalist for something there, but it won for best cover from another awards, and I trusted my gut. They were trying to talk me out of it. And I'm like, no, I feel strongly I should be on it. It doesn't matter that people don't know who I am. I mean, it could be anybody on
I
the
would come
cover.
back and say, I'm sorry if there is a model out there that's as beautiful as me that I put on my cover.
Not to have a face, that it should have just had graphics, like not to
Yeah.
have a face.
I don't know
But
about
I
that. I
just,
mean, depends on
you
the
know,
book.
yeah.
Depends on the
And
book's probably
so
good like that without a something.
I think it helps. And then when I'm being interviewed, people are like, "Oh yes, that's the same person. I can connect the
Yeah,
two." And this looks like the person on the cover. Like I don't look totally different, you know?
exactly.
It's like, so I would just say that also stick to your guts, stick to what you really want the book to be.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that is what's going to propel it to its future.
Mhm.
Yes, spend some time. Now,
Now
if
you
I
got to
can
write a second.
get her a little more well known, and then we'll chat about a second. um, it will be interesting to see what happens, once this does take off, because I do
Right.
truly believe, I don't think I was told to write her for no
Hmm.
reason. You know what I
Right.
mean? Since it
Yeah.
wasn't
Oh, I
something I
know.
ever aspired to do.
Right.
So let's see what happens, because I do think she has the ability to change my life in other ways too. And it'll be interesting to see where the story goes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
But you got to stay persistent. That is
yes,
the key.
yes.
Is persistent and uh don't hang around negative people.
No, and that's why I'm saying, sadly, on these spiritual journeys, you do end up losing people. I've lost friends that I've had for over 30 plus years who just don't have the same vibration that I have now,
Yep.
and don't wish me well on my journey. And,
Hmm.
I had to make the very difficult decision to love them from a distance.
Right. Right. Right.
And I think that's okay too. But I am very, very honest about everything in my life and everything that I went through on this journey. And I had to go back to where I was at that time,
Right.
because I've had people come up. There are people in the book who I'm very close to, again, who at one point I was not. And they're like, well, why did you write this? I'm like, well, that is how things were happening at that time. That's not where we are 5 years later, but this is where we were then. So I had
Right.
to be authentic to what I knew and how things were unfolding then,
Yeah.
you know?
People can spot that a false persona right
Right.
pretty quickly.
Right.
Very,
And
very
you
quickly.
can't write from the point where, you're already enlightened, because then that doesn't help anybody. It's like I talk about all the shit I went to get to where I am now.
Right. Right.
You've
Oh
got to
yeah.
go through it to get to here, and I don't
Yep.
think there's ever an end, but there's certainly a place of where you can be more at ease with yourself and who you really are. And then that's what really throws people off too.
And that's what
I hope
it's
so. I hope
yeah.
so, that there are others out there going through what they're going through. They're not alone. And it's okay to feel everything that you're going to feel through that journey.
We'll see the cover again. And where can everybody get a hold of you at?
Um, the easiest place is either on my Instagram at Alejandra G. Brady Lifestyle, at my website, AlejandraBrady.com. The book is on Amazon. The book is on my website, Barnes and Noble, most of the places that you can get books, you'll find
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, excellent. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast today, and I'm glad that you wrote down your life from 50 till now.
Yeah.
To maybe help some other folks too, but just some entertainment too. So I think that's
It
what we
is.
kind
I
of
mean,
want to get
there's a
out of the
little
book.
bit of everything, and it goes back to before I was 50, but it kind of
Yeah.
connects all the dots for all the gifts I'd gotten since childhood I didn't even realize I had, and that'll be what most people find too.
Excellent.
These
Excellent.
things don't happen overnight to us. We've had them our
No.
whole lives.
Well, Alejandra, it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking to you. And Tampa's a great place,
Thank
except in
you.
July when it's hot. Nice,
Break.
nice.
We'll get a little break from the heat, but still, I love it. I'd take the heat over the cold any day.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too. I'm the same way. I live in Dallas. I'm the same way. Oh, excellent. See?
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There we go.
All right. Well, nice meeting you.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Travis.
Bye-bye.